Alright, guys, welcome back. So, someone linked this to me in the comment section, and this is an interview with Rayshard Brooks talking about himself. And I haven't watched the whole thing, but in the first couple minutes, he starts talking about his interactions with the criminal justice system, and he starts spouting a few opinions. So, before we watch this, let me go ahead and ask you a question. If you're going to take a boat trip, right? Let's say that you're going to sail uh, uh, from California to Japan, and you're going to sail across the Pacific Ocean. You're not going to stop at Hawaii. You're not going to stop at any islands. You are going to be on the ocean from the point you leave land in California to the time that you arrive in Japan, right? Do you want someone captaining the ship who has no idea how to sail a boat, how to operate a boat, how to man a crew, how to lead people? Is that the type of person that you want in charge of the boat for a journey that's going to take thousands of miles and have all kinds of issues and take just a ton of time, right? Because if the answer is no, you do not want a person who is not knowledgeable, then you should not have Rayshard Brooks giving his opinion on the criminal justice system is like having someone pilot a sailboat with absolutely zero experience. Rayshard Brooks has no knowledge of how the actual criminal justice system works. So everything that he says in this interview is his opinion. None of it is fact. And the problem that I have with these type of interviews is you're not actually doing anything productive. He's talking about, oh, well, I feel that this should happen, and I think, and I believe, but it's not, oh, well, this is what the policy is for the police, and they treat us in a certain way because of that policy, and that policy says if they're black, then attack them. It doesn't exist. Those things don't happen. So let's listen to this.
Okay, well, I'm Rayshard Brooks, 27 years of age, have three kids. I'm happily married.
Oh, happily married. Okay.
Like I said, I have a job. Absolutely, I'm a full-time carpenter.
All right. On February 20th, 2020, a representative from Reconnect traveled to Atlanta to interview Rayshard Brooks and three others on their experience with the criminal justice system. After completing a pre-interview via Skype, Rayshard arrived excited and hungry to have someone hear his voice, to hear about his experience, and to hear how the system repeatedly created barriers to his success. This is a rough edit of that interview, not approved for release. First thing that threw me as a red flag, he doesn't stop moving. Or at least not in the part I watch. He sits there and shakes like he's high.
I feel good about myself, but as I said, we're here, and these things need to be addressed properly. If you do some things that's wrong, you pay your debts to society, and that's the bottom
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, that
You
is the
know, I
bottom
just
line.
feel like
Then why'd
some
you
of the
run?
system could, look at us as individuals. We do have lives. It's just a mistake we made.
Okay, so how does the system not look at you as individuals?
And not just do us as if we are animals.
You mean the way you do yourselves? Because you act like animals?
And that's a hard feeling to stomach. With you going out and you're trying, and by you having this so-called record,
So called.
it's hindering us from going out in public to you know try and provide for ourselves as far as just getting a job and getting ourselves back on track.
Okay, so hindering us, is that a reference to black people or a reference to convicted felons? Because if you're making it a reference to black people, you just now said that the vast majority of black people are criminals and they have a hard time, which I'm pretty sure is the actual reference you're making, not criminals. But to play devil's advocate, he is right because I am a convicted felon. It is hard to get housing, and it doesn't really matter because I have been out of prison for over 10 years. I haven't gotten in any trouble, so my arrest record is fucking ancient as far as most things are concerned. sometimes it doesn't even pop up. But when it does prohibit me from being able to pay as little for housing as some people, or even to obtain housing. And do you know what I did to get over that? I made my own fucking company. People didn't want to hire me because I was a convicted felon, so I made my own. And I make more money than anybody would ever hire me for an hourly or salary rate with the education that I have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not going to make 250 grand a year because of my education level. But you know what I didn't do? Sit around and start blaming everybody else for the mistakes I made in the past. If there was something that I did in the past that is now hindering me and my future, I took responsibility for my actions and started doing things to work around it instead of blaming other people.
Taking you away from the family. You have to try and go out, make means,
Oh, be a
you
responsible
know,
father?
and yet my
Jesus.
kids, I want to spend some time with my kids, but I really don't have the time. You
That's
know,
called being a
I have to
responsible
try and
father.
go out, make money for this, make money for bills, or try and get myself back on track, and I feel like
Oh, I
it should be a
feel
way
like.
for you to have some kind of person like a mentor assigned to you.
So you need a babysitter now. You need an adult to tell you how to conduct yourself? Is
To
that what you're telling me?
keep your track, keep you in the direction you need to be going,
Because
or
you're not enough of an
certain
adult to do
things
that
that you
yourself?
just can't do. I feel like, I mean, y'all took the time to lock me up and didn't care. I was sitting in there, but here yet I'm out now, and I have to try to fend for myself when I've been taken away from society. And
Now, at the beginning of this interview, you said if you do something wrong that you should pay your debt to society, bottom line. And now you're sitting here being like, oh, well, I committed a crime and I mean, you guys locked me up and now I can't do it. No, bitch, that's your fault.
now I have to go out here, you know clueless of everything that's been going on. I don't know. I'm trying to adapt back to society.
Bitch, don't give me that fucking bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit. Don't tell me that you were locked up for so long that things have passed you by and you can't figure it out. You're full of shit.
And I have to go clueless of things.
No, you are
Trying to
just
figure
clueless,
out, hey, which
period.
way do I go?
Whiny little
Every day
bitch.
that you've sat in jail is money that they made.
Oh, right. By someone else's tax dollars. And if you sit there and say it's every day that you sit in jail is money that you didn't make, again, your fucking
They making
choice.
money every day you sit in there. They're claiming they're making money off of you, and it's
That's
once
not
you
a
get in
for-profit
there,
business,
you're
dude.
just in debt. Just in debt. You owe. For one individual to try to deal with all of these things at one point in time is just impossible.
No, it's not.
They're
I did it. Other people do it.
not funding us. They're not saying, "Hey, let's give them a check for da da da," and
Why?
that may be some type of help toward.
You're a fucking criminal. You've committed crimes. You served prison, and now we're supposed to just give you money? And listen to how fucking stupid you sound.
Him getting himself back together.
How about this? You want to get back together, change your thinking, take responsibility for yourselves, and go out there and act like the rest of normal civilized society instead of bucking on the cops, beating up your children, kidnapping your children, beating up on your wife, beating up on other people. Stop being a fucking low life piece of shit.
You know, and like I said, it's just a lot of pressure. With just having all of that on your shoulder and on your back. It's just a lot of pressure, and some people they just can't deal with it.
Apparently you couldn't.
It's causing us to fall behind on jobs. Our current job, whatever.
And okay, so here this interview was conducted in February of 2020. At that time, the stock market had not started to crash because of the coronavirus. So what he's talking about, how them by them, I'm assuming he means black people not having jobs. You realize that at that point in time where you're conducting this interview, black unemployment was at its lowest rate. The average uh, uh, the average mean household income, I think is how they worded it, was up $5,000 for the average black family. compared to Barack Obama. So really, how is it that you're stuffing? Don't feed me that line of bullshit. You don't even know facts.
The case may be where we're going out to provide for our families, and it's making us fall behind. Sometimes we lose jobs, things, a lot of things that we lose.
Why did you lose the job? Because you didn't show up on time, because you had a smart mouth and you were constantly getting into it with customers or other employees? Are you just really shit at your job? Did they not need you anymore? Like, come on, you're just, oh, God, oh, we lose jobs. Why?
By being incarcerated. And
You mean you lose jobs by being incarcerated? So you lost your job. Not somebody else took it from you. You did it. So why are you blaming other people?
it people, some individuals, they're getting out trying to get their life back on track, but here I am on a anchor monitor.
On an anchor monitor? Oh, ankle monitor. Gotcha.
So we have
Well, that's probably part of your sentence. Just because you're out of prison doesn't mean you're done serving your debt to society. A lot of people will get out and they have parole, probation, house arrest, community control.
to go back and try to fix things with our kids, and try and gain that trust back, with being away. you know my oldest
Again, he's
daughter,
trying to
Dad,
blame all
she,
these other people for the problems that
hey,
he's
I love
having.
you so much, but where have you been?
Oh, well, why don't you tell her the truth? Daddy was a dumbass. Daddy did things that were against the law and then had to pay for those crimes and got locked away in a place with other people who commit crimes, so I wasn't able to see you.
And I have to, feather up the energy to let her know everything that has went on within me and the situation that I
I
have been
highly
through.
doubt
I
it.
want
I
to
highly
piggyback
doubt that you
on,
told her the truth.
us being, taken away from our family. It's hurting us.
No, no, no. You are hurting you. You are hurting your family. You, the black person who's committing a crime, are hurting you, the black community as a whole. No one else made you make those choices.
But it's hurting our families the most.
Then stop doing it.
So as we go through these trials and tribulations, it, it it's it's hurting our kids, and it's taking away from our families.
And you're the one who's doing it.
So
And oh, thank you. He hit the nail on the head, and he doesn't even realize it. It's hurting our families. It's hurting our kids. Right, right. So let me guess. Was your father an in and out of prison type of person, and that's why you grew up this way? What was his father like? And what are your kids gonna turn out like? Because you are an in and out of prison father who's now dead.
provider, the male figure or the female figure. I'm speaking for both, and it's taking away from us. I feel we can't get the time back. What we can make up for it.
Yeah, well, looks like you didn't do that.
This is a mental thing. It's also messing with our mental state, and by us being incarcerated, not being able to see, just the outside, not being able to go, being woke up and being told what to do, when, and how. Some people,
he not not what 5 minutes ago maybe was talking about how he needed a mentor, someone to keep him on the straight and narrow and tell him what to do, and now he is complaining when he had someone telling him what to do.
they're considering suicide, and a lot of things that they don't know. Just a lot of pressure for oneself to be able to feather up the energy to deal with.
To further up the dude, you are trying.
And
He's trying to sound so intellectually intelligent, and he's failing so hard.
it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
To further up
And
the energy.
some people, they're just not able. It's caused a effect on our mental state. Of just being, locked in a room for 23 hours a day, or
One, I highly doubt that you were locked in a room for 23 hours a day. That type of uh, containment is reserved for people much worse than you. Unless, while you are in prison and you are in general population, then you do something else. Because going to the box is like jail inside of prison. Solitary confinement, although sometimes you're not actually solitary. There are instances where you will be in with another cellmate. And that at those times you are locked in for 23 hours a day, or at least at the facilities I had been to. You get time out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for showers, and you get time out once a day to go to the rec yard, which is a concrete walled in square with chain link fence over the top. And there's nothing in there to do but walk around and talk to people. So I just,
You know,
if there's a mental, I don't know,
and
fucking
and
idiot.
it just hinders us in a lot of ways.
I don't think he was.
State and county is
If
totally
he was in
different.
solitary confinement, he put
So
himself there.
me going through that process, it hardened me. It hardened me at a point, to like, hey, I have to have my guard up because the world is cruel.
Oh, dude, you should be living like that anyway. Dumbass, do you not realize that the world is cruel and that you should have your guard up? Doesn't mean you have to think that everybody's out trying to attack you, but fuck.
took me through seeing different things in in the system. It just makes you hardened to a point. You know, and sometimes people ask me, hey man, why are you so, what I'm saying? It just has caused me to be that way. You might go and your hopes are up, but you want to let the employer know. You go to filling out your application and you get to this question: have you ever been convicted of a crime, or have you ever been arrested? And
It's actually, have
you
you ever
fit
been
it.
convicted of a felony? Or at least the vast majority of applications have that.
And they're like, oh my God, you know, I hope this doesn't, hinder me from getting this job.
Well, first off, he's putting too much worry into what other people are going to think of him. If you're worried about whether they're going to hire you or not, that's not the job that you want. You go, you fill out the application. They decide they don't want to hire you because you have a criminal. Thank you for your time. Move on to the next one. Why are you getting anxious about it? Doesn't do you any good.
And then
Moreover, you know there's going to be one of two results. They're either going to say, well, you have a felony conviction, talk to us about it, and we can see if we'll take it into account on whether you can be hired, or they'll just turn you down outright. One of the two. Okay, so what? So you know what the outcomes are going to be. Why are you worried about it? Is someone turning you down for a job that big of a blow to your ego that you can't handle it? This is someone who hasn't learned how to deal with rejection.
you finish up the application and you have some employers that come back to you, well, Mr. Brooks, unfortunately, we can't hire you due to the fact that you've been incarcerated or you've been, arrested for this and that,
Okay,
and that
what's wrong
just,
with that?
you
What is wrong with someone not wanting to hire someone who commits crimes and has committed crimes to the point where they have had to be incarcerated for it?
your heart, it just breaks your heart,
Breaks your heart, really? That someone else wants to run their business the way that they want to run their business and they don't want to hire you because of your previous decisions? Maybe you
it's
should have made better
hindering us in
decisions.
ways
Oh, and this is coming from someone who has been turned down for many, many jobs simply for being a convicted felon.
as if in we're going out and getting jobs and people are looking as if we don't want them in this source of business and in our business because it's
Yeah,
going to run the business away.
yeah.
A lot of things. It just has caused.
You know what the issue is? He's not looking at it from the other side. He's not sitting there thinking, if I had a business that I was going to run, that I was going to have people come into my shop and do things or buy a product, would I hire the people that I met in prison? If he did, his company wouldn't last very long.
Me to be behind, but here yet I'm trying. I'm not the type of person to
No,
give up.
you were not trying.
And
Oh, well, you're not the type of person to give up. Boy, you certainly bucked on them cops, dead motherfucker.
I'm gonna keep going until I make it to where I want to be.
Hell, apparently. Alright, guys, we'll see you in the next one.